So that's the difference. Like Al Howell, one of my mentors, told me when I first starting in, the world of finance and big, Wall Street kind of stuff. He said, look, Ty, the difference between millionaires and not millionaires in my 40 years experience in this industry is millionaires do the stuff that everybody knows they should do but doesn't do. It's not some magical Illuminati conspiracy, it's just common sense. How are you going to have any money if you don't know anything about money? So the question is, I'm going to start this off. Some people are surprised when I ask this, because the end, by the way, at the end of these 67 days, I don't want you to be stumped. If you came and met me in person, most people I can stump with 3 questions. Maybe they know the answer to the first one. I go a little deeper, The more you learn, the more you earn. That is what Warren Buffett wrote a book. He was the wealthiest man in the world for many years. He says it's for 6-year-olds. And at the beginning of the book, it's called The Secret Millionaire, I think he wrote it. It says the more you learn, the more you earn. So what better to learn when you're talking about financial freedom than the subject of money? So let's ask ourselves, what is money? Okay? So there's a question I would ask you. Take a second, think about it. And when I asked this, I did a seminar the other day, 6,000 people registered or whatever, not thousands of people were on it. When I asked this question, the answers are all over the place. People say money is, a currency. It's paper representing, I don't know. There's you name it, people have it, have a opinion on it. In fact, I did this TEDx talk, and I did it in Europe, and we did it in a castle. Maybe you've seen it. It's actually one of the fastest growing TEDx talks. So 1 million plus times it's been viewed here in a short period of time. But the day I was doing it, I was sitting there, and there was a professor of finance there who was also giving a TEDx talk. And I said to him, I somehow got on the subject, and I like to ask lots of people, and I said, what is money? And he gave his answer. It was very academic. And then I gave my answer, and he was kind of surprised by it, and he was like, that's probably maybe even a better answer than the one he gave. So the answer, and I hope you'll remember this for the rest of your life, because even if you only remember these few words, this will have an effect on you. It will change your mindset. And what I think money is, in the least amount of word description, money equals scarce, okay, in demand resources, okay? Remember, that's in some ways for your financial freedom, your future, understanding those 4 words are the most important 4 words I think you can remember. So let's go through what I mean by that. Number 1, scarce. Now, let me step back. A lot of people, I was at a pro basketball game and people were going, I was with some people and they're like, it's crazy. Kobe Bryant there for the Lakers. I think he has a $25 million a year contract. And they were saying, one of them was a school teacher, and they're saying, or works principal or something, said it's crazy, all these school teachers doing all this good for the world, they're only getting paid, $40,000 a year or something, and here's a guy who makes $250,000 in 1 hour or 2 hours playing basketball, just throwing a ball through a hoop. And I didn't have an easy answer. I can't tell you if that's fair or not. Can't tell you if it's morally right, but I think this explains why in the current world we live in, most of the world has become capitalistic. Now, it's not 100% capitalistic. China is very capitalistic in some ways, communistic in others. America is very capitalistic in some ways, so is Europe, and in other ways, it's more socialistic. But the general trend is capitalism. And I'm not going to, maybe, for a few of you, your goal in life would be to change that. That's a tough path. But for those of you who realize this is how it is, and it's probably going to be this way for a while, let's understand, why does pro basketball player Michael Jordan make more? Well, what's more scarce? Being 6'6" tall like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, and being able to be highly coordinated, to have 5% body fat, to be extremely skilled and agile, or be a school teacher, or be a, work at McDonald's, or be a librarian, or be a bus driver. Obviously, it's a lot more scarce. There's very few people that are tall, okay? So, but remember, scarce isn't enough. Because what if I say I have a skill, I know how to do underwater basket weaving, and nobody else does? Will that translate into me having money? No, because it's scarce, but it's got to meet the next criteria. Really, it's 3 words, depending on how you count in dash demand, but it's got to be in demand. And this is why a basketball player, or a football player, or a soccer player makes money, because very few people can do what they do, and a lot of people are willing to pay money to watch it. World Cup soccer, football, think how many people watch that. It's incredible how many people. Now, the money part is the resource. It's a way of exchanging, scarce, in-demand things. And so money doesn't represent paper, because there might be there's been times in the past where there was no paper money. Native Americans, centuries ago, Indian tribes, they didn't have paper money. Even 100 or 200 years ago, most places didn't have money like we had. But they used gold. Gold, again, is one of the most scarce resources, not only on planet Earth, but in the universe. Because the way that gold, if you remember back with chemistry, it takes a very hot star to make gold. So I think one of the most common things in the universe is helium or something like that. Hydrogen, or is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it doesn't take a hot explosion. So there was depending on what you believe, the origin of the universe, there was a hot explosion at the beginning. Whether you're religious or not religious, I think people somewhat agree on this. And so gold took a very hot star, a supernova. And so there's much less gold in the universe. I think the atomic weight or the atomic number or something's like 70, versus things like iron. There's a lot more iron in the world, And because iron is less scarce, it's still in demand, it's worth less money. If you found iron ore on a piece of land that you owned, that'd be great, but it wouldn't be super great, What's super great is if you found gold, because gold's scarce and in demand. So where am I going with this? Throughout these next lessons that you go through day by day, I want you to understand it all comes back to this.